start off with professional knowledge, and we just need the department to kind of get up and tell us what you talked about with professional knowledge. And foreign language, you ready?
Professional knowledge looks like knowledge standards, setting appropriate learning targets, using higher order thinking questions in class, and expressing high expectations for all students. Keep going. Okay. Documents to prove, lesson plans, evidence of differentiation, high quality student products. Professional knowledge is not having students refer to books for assistance, limited knowledge of content area, and lack of thorough explanation of content. And I don't think we have any questions.
Okay, so the next department, you just kind of get up one after the other. Next, we have.
All right, for the English department, we said professional knowledge is like critical thinking skills, correct standard, extensive content, and linking the present content with past and future, and having accurate knowledge. And then we said that things that is not is poor knowledge of the content, your plans do not reflect the standards and the curriculum, and the students are not engaged. And then we said the documents are lesson plans, curriculum maps, your frameworks posted, your assessments, formative and summative, lowering the achievement gap, and then having data notebooks for backup. And then the only question we had was looking at them, how do you, like, what is an adequate understanding? Like, that was the only question we had though. Like, does it mean I'm English, so I'm up here teaching math, or like, that's the only question we had.
So the standard said, teacher demonstrates an understanding of the curriculum, subject, content, pedagogical knowledge. Where are you getting that adequate from? Where'd you get that?
Well, we were looking with it, like if you get a 1, it's showing that you have an adequate understanding of the content stuff, and we were just saying, what is that? Because none of us think we're 4s.
Okay, and administrators, you type it in too, but I think when it says inadequately demonstrates an understanding of the curriculum and subject content, maybe when you have a teacher that's up and she's clearly, or he is clearly showing that they don't have a clue as to what they're really teaching. And sometimes the students ask them questions and you can kind of see that look over their face that says, I really don't know the answer to. The administrators don't have anything else to add?
You don't know, don't let the children know.
That was a good question. You have to make sure that you have an adequate understanding of their content, because if you don't have an adequate understanding of it, then it's kind of hard to convey it to someone else. Any other questions about that? Here, all right, next, PE.
All right, I'm going to say that okay, I got it. The teacher knows what to teach, how to teach, and whom they are teaching. This is for professional knowledge to look forward. Student-directed activities, we have the model and facilitate learning. And then for documents to prove professional knowledge, curriculum maps, lesson plans, collaborative lesson plans, observations, use of standards-based classrooms, interactive with students, application of student surveys, and use of form assessments. And then for professional knowledge is 9, we have just standing and delivery, and then handing out a worksheet.
All right, did your department have any questions?
No, ma'am.
Professional knowledge looks like standards-based instruction, leading students to discovery, relating the subject to the students' lives, sensitive to the needs of the group, challenges students, and sharing knowledge with other teachers. Documents to prove professional knowledge is lesson plans based on standards, formative and summative assessments to show growth, and meeting minutes of teacher co-collaboration. Professional knowledge is not insensitive to cultural or learning needs of the students, giving false or misleading information, reading out of a book with no real-world experience, and spoon-feeding students.
Good.
Okay, for science, professional knowledge, we said following the standards, show your knowledge of the subject matter, linking content past to present, needs of the age group, relevance, and using our data. For documents to prove professional knowledge, lesson plans, data notebook, assessments with higher order thinking skills. And then professional knowledge is not a lack of knowledge or did we write that right? Yeah, a lack of knowledge, a lack of engagement, or no consideration of individual student needs.
The social studies department, we said professional knowledge looks like appropriate curriculum, high-level thinking, linking old with new for real-world experiences, knowledge of subject matter, and knowledge of appropriate learning strategies, and use of current research to develop lessons. Professional knowledge is not the same old stuff, just recall information, not applying to the real world, or cursory knowledge, inappropriate learning strategies, or outdated research. Documents to prove, curriculum maps and lesson plans, student activities and work samples, and questions we still, maybe a few more things we could do to facilitate higher level thinking.
Okay. The look for's complete framework with the word wall, well-planned lesson, reflects on past knowledge to bridge to the current lesson. The red flags, busy work, disorganization, poor classroom management, documents to prove, lesson plans, student work, and data notebook. And the only questions we have is, will we be able to access evaluation rubrics or forms?
You mean the forms that they're going to use?
Yeah.
That's the blue one.
They'll use exactly like that?
Except theirs is on the computer, right, Dr. Gray? But it's this form. You'll be rated either a level 1, a level 2, a level 3, a level 4.
Okay.
Is that form that we'll be doing on the electronic platform, but that form is on the electronic platform?
Okay, for math, we said that professional knowledge looks like the teacher facilitating the students using higher thinking skills, and the teacher facilitating making connections with other content area, previous learning, and real-world application. What it's not is giving the students answer, not requiring explanations, and the teacher just doesn't know the content. For the documents to prove, we said lesson plans and teacher commentary, and the question that we have is, what will the administrators be looking for that statement?
Basically, you know, like if I went in math, of course I wouldn't be looking for content, because I wouldn't have a clue what they're doing. But just the, pretty much what the standard says, okay? Just pretty much what the standard said. And we're also going to pass out to you all, I can't remember, it's another document that kind of breaks the standard down a little bit more and will give you some examples of what we're going to be looking for. I can't think of it.
Is that quick sheet?
We've got this one, it gives examples of things, like
Well,
if I say this, then yes, that demonstrates this particular
right,
standard.
yeah, and I have another.
It's called a quick sheet, I
yeah,
think.
Yeah, quick sheet.
Quick
I
fact
have
sheet.
another one, I'm going to pass it out to you all, just to give you some more examples that hopefully answer that question.
Any other questions you have for Dr. Gray and the administrators on professional knowledge? Okay, next we're going to have Mr. Poss and Ms. Brown. The school district is coming up with some writing things that we're going to do school-wide, and Mr. Poss and Ms. Brown served on that committee, and so they're going to come now and kind of tell us what they've talked about and worked on.
All right. Everybody should have, I think, the rubric I passed out for everybody. Everybody have one? All right, what you're looking at here is the future of writing for everyone, all subjects, district-wide, but this is just for us, right here, what we're going to talk about today. This is the last year for the writing test. After this, they are moving on. The communication through written form is going to be observed through the milestone. Everything is going to be the milestone. So what they are doing is taking a look at how much focus is put on writing across the subject areas. And communication through the written form is the basis of what people see through education. How well can someone communicate effectively through writing? And it needs to be, stepped up. They want it all the way across all subject areas. So what we did was we took the route that they gave us and we kind of stripped it down to the essentials so that everybody in every subject could follow it accordingly. It follows still the same basic domains as the writing test: ideas, organization, style, and conventions. And I'm just going to explain to you how this works for writing in your classrooms. Everybody will use the same rubric. That way the students are fully aware of how they will be assessed over their writing. All right, so the 4 basics of writing are ideas, are essentially the most important. That's why they get the highest score. You can see that ideas goes up fully developed as 40. The degree to which the writer establishes a controlling idea and elaborates the main point with examples, illustrations, facts, or details that are appropriate to the assigned genre or topic. In other words, the student's ability to effectively answer the topic that you gave them. And then they do it in an organized fashion. They follow an overall plan, introduction, body, and a conclusion. They have, and then we're just going to move on down to style. Does anybody, style is where it gets a little bit tricky. We brought it down to the student is always aware of the audience for whom the paper is written. Strategies are appropriate to the subject, whether they are writing over something expository, just plainly for information giving or something. They maintain the correct writing style. They use varied sentence lengths. Now, I'm not going to, we try to just make it base varied sentence lengths. Like if they have short, simple sentences all the way down, that's poor style. Subject, verb, period, You want to vary your sentence structure a little bit, some complex, compound, complex things in there. And then there are conventions, which is essentially their grammar and their ability to control writing on the grammatical level. If you see any part of the rubric that you don't see as clear or working out for your subject area, let me know. But I think I've got it pretty much bare to where it'll cover any sort of writing that anybody needs. Does everybody agree?
Okay, do you have a copy of your writing expectations chart? Because I don't have any extra copies, but it was emailed. Okay, these are the categories for your writing expectations. You have the grade level, the number of expected writings for 9 weeks, the types of writing, how long it should be, and how many minutes per week. Where it says 9th grade, 9th and 10th grade, that's just English only, 1 writing per week. These are the kinds of writing: informative or explanatory, narrative, that's telling a story, argumentative, that's the same thing, that's persuasive. The length, it could be paragraphs, letters, essays, or research papers. You'll have 1 class period per week. Okay, 9th and 10th grade, other disciplines, and that will be the rest of you. 1 writing every 2 weeks. You can select from the informative, narrative, and argumentative. 4th 9 weeks, and this should have been under 9th and 10th for English because they have to do argumentative writing. Length is any type of constructive responses. A mini paragraph, 3 to 5 sentences, 30 minutes every 2 weeks. 11th and 12th grade, number of writings, 1 per week. This is English. 11th grade teachers, we're going to do argumentative. The rest of you will do informative and persuasive and narrative. And the types, the length will be paragraph, letters, essays, research papers, articles, 1 class period per week. 11th and 12th grade, other disciplines, that will be the rest of you. 1 writing every 2 weeks. You can select from the other types. Constructive responses, 3 to 5 sentences, and 30 minutes per week. Any questions? 2 weeks, I'm sorry. Other questions?
Thank you. Dr.
Clarify, just real quick, fundraisers. Y'all know the USDA came up with this new federal, y'all know, y'all saw it quickly hit breakfast and lunch for the students as far as an even more nutritious meal. But what they come up now, they come up with the type of snacks and the type of drinks that students can eat or drink while they're at school. Our snack machines have been, they're in compliance with the new rules and regulations, and so are the drink machines. But anything that we do as a fundraiser,